All right, welcome back to the 315 Pulse here from the seventh floor of One Lincoln Center, nicest first class office building in central New York. Maybe Rochester and Buffalo too, but we have a really interesting guest today. We've got Jake Dishaw, who is
The Deputy Commissioner
Deputy
of
Commissioner.
Code Enforcement and Zoning Administration.
That's a
Did I?
mouthful.
He was appointed that in 2023
Yep.
by Mayor
2023.
Walsh. Yeah, yeah. So I know a little bit about Jake because I talk to him frequently, but he's been serving the city of Syracuse for 17 years. Want to tell us a little bit about your?
Since high school?
Yeah.
Jake?
So,
Oh, you're-
didn't know what code enforcement was when I was a high school student. Had a friend of the family that was looking for summer workers. So I'm like, great. There were a bunch of college kids, high school kids, and we maintained vacant houses. We did board ups, painted address numbers for emergency response, cut grass. It was great because it was early morning. We got out like early afternoon, still, as a young student, still time to go enjoy the evening or go play golf, whatever you wanted to do. So, went away to college, kept working summers, and then wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do when I graduated. Mayor Matt Driscoll was in office at the time.
So what year are we going back to? What year did you start?
It was 2007, I believe. Yeah.
Wow.
And yeah, I've been here ever since. Haven't left. I've, didn't necessarily plan back then on building a career, but I've stayed within code enforcement. We've done so much. Like part of the appointment to that job title that you said in 2023, the city took over zoning administration. The county administered the city's zoning from the 60s up until 2023, and we kind of brought that in house under Mayor Walsh and. Part of the structural changes and that new job title was for me to kind of oversee all of that, but also continue to lead permitting and traditional code enforcement on top of it. So it's kind of a wide range of responsibilities, but all has to do with development, keeping people safe, and making the city a better place to live.
Well, it's really nice to have a young man like yourself that's got all this experience. You know, getting the city going in the right direction. And
Yeah, I have a lot of friends who moved away after college, right?
Yeah.
I still have some that haven't come back, but many have. It's interesting. Like
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people, they go away for a little bit and then they're like,
Always come
"There's
home.
nothing to do in Syracuse. Like it's a dying city." They leave, and a lot of them come back.
it's
And
great
now,
to hear.
like, there's a lot going on here that I think there's excitement. Me, I've always joked around because I've heard Jim Boeheim talk about it, but I love Syracuse. It's a great place. There's, if you
Absolutely.
can deal with winter and you don't
Yeah.
mind a little bit of snow,
Yeah.
like this is a great place to live. It's a great place to raise a family. Cost of living is low. Like I love our weather, like the seasons, you get all of it.
Definitely.
We have good sports here. We have good restaurant, good culture. Like to me, it's like you get a little feel of like small town, but in a little bit of feel of like big city.
Yeah.
It's a mix, right?
Yep.
And that's yeah. So I love it here. I'm a lifer, and you don't see too many of those people anymore that kind of are like, I'm going to do a 30-year career doing the same thing.
Yeah, I'm starting to feel that.
Well, I mean, from the whole code enforcement, I mean, we know that a lot of people are not going into that
That field.
occupation. So it's great that we have someone like you who's really that upbeat about it and is good at it, obviously.
Yeah, we were talking about it before we started the podcast. Everything we do directly reflects helping people's living situation,
Mm-hmm.
working like buildings, office tenant build outs, or entertainment, restaurant, right? And we have a lot coming to the area.
Yeah.
Micron, we talked about the Micron sign on the side of
Mhm.
this building. That's symbolic of what's going to come here. And
Yeah.
on top of just the direct jobs at Micron, think about all the stuff that needs to follow. We're expecting tremendous population growth,
Yep.
not only in the city, but in the
Mhm.
surrounding counties.
Mm-hmm.
Where are all these people going to work? Where are all these people going to go entertain? Where are they going to go dine?
Yeah.
What about all the support workers that go with that?
Yeah.
Like it's
Where are they
going to
gonna
have a
live?
trickle down effect. above and beyond just the direct people being employed by Micron. It's going to go beyond that. And to me, I think it's a turning point for this city to kind of, reimagine like what we are as a city. And there's tremendous opportunity. So that's exciting.
Yeah, it is super, super excited. We're excited. They're having their soft open this week. So once that sign was up last week, I was like, it's getting here. Now we can, rip the Band-Aid off because of all the no, it's not happening, it's not happening. Now the sign's up and it's happening. I think that was like the dot on the I and the T on the cross on the T saying they're here, they're coming, and it's happening. I know there's been such controversy. There's so many people who are just not interested and don't believe that this is going to happen, and they're going to think it's going to fail. But I really have a very optimistic, positive thought process on that. I really think this is going to be huge for our community, our downtown, our county. It's just going to be big.
We already see them in the building. They're at One Lincoln Center. The
Yep.
employees are here. They're working hard. The Welcome Center officially open?
Welcome Center is there. It's beautiful.
Did Jake check it out? Did you check it
No,
out
I'll
on
have
your way
to-
in?
Yeah, I did not. Well, I'll have to stop on my way out, but
Make sure it's up to code.
we definitely did the plan review for it. I can tell you that we made sure the designs met code, and we all the way through, finishing it and giving it a final certificate of occupancy to.
Yeah,
let
it's a
things
beautiful
move forward,
space with
so.
those full height glass windows. I mean, it's a special
Yeah.
it's a special space, and it's a welcome for Micron deciding to come to Central New York and
Yeah.
choosing One Lincoln Center to be their headquarters up here in Syracuse.
Yeah, I mean, again, right in the heart of downtown. Again, I think it's a good starting point. Can't think of a better place to kind of like leave your footprint, right? Or,
Right,
or to
yeah.
take your first step.
Yep.
To me, it starts here and it grows from there, and that's exciting.
Definitely.
So,
Yeah.
Jake,
Yep,
I'm going to
yep,
ask
good,
you a
good
couple
question.
questions in regard to code enforcement because I know that both Carrie and I are both town councilors, Town Councilor DeWitt Van Buren. We know how important it is to have code enforcement. I mean, it's like you said, it's the safety of the residents, your building, your businesses, your entrepreneurs, your entertainment, and it's got a lot of items attached to it. Like your council, you have inspectors, you have code enforcement officers. Code enforcement officers, like the city of Syracuse, are not like you can explain, like we were talking about earlier. They are not like police officers, and they're in different vehicles, and they are, have protection in case something happens. They go to individual homes or businesses, and they don't know what they are going to be up against. If it's
Yeah.
going to be a pleasant experience or a negative experience.
Yeah, definitely. Knock on wood. In my career here, we haven't had any, uh, you know, dangerous incidents. We've had some close calls with some situations, but our inspectors are all of our field staff that go out in the city and do their job every day. They're on their own. They have a city issued cell phone and a little ID badge. And that's it. And they're in apartment buildings going to do tenant complaints in a large, apartment building. They're out meeting with business owners, building owners throughout the city all day long, and they're professionals at it. But there are some certain situations that arise that are kind of unsettling. I guess I'll put it that way. But they go out there and they do their job. They drive their own vehicles. They're not in a uniform. They don't have partners. So it's really a lot of work on their own, a lot of independency. Sometimes that's good, but then it leaves open the door for some potentially bad situations to arise. So luckily we haven't seen too many of those, but it's a challenging job. We come into situations sometimes where it becomes more than just a code enforcement problem too. And some of our employees can only do so much. But sometimes we see unfortunate incidents with animals or with the conditions a child's living in, and then making the decision of, do I have to report that above and beyond outside what my job is? Like, what do I have to do about what I just witnessed or what I encountered? So, and as great as everything else in the city that we talked about earlier, like a lot of excitement, there's still a lot of poverty in the city.
Yep.
And our staff, sees that firsthand daily. in some of the neighborhoods that we're in and working in. So it's a balance, and I don't want to forget some of the things that we need to improve upon in the
Yeah.
city too.
Yeah. So in the 2025 budget year, when you guys were doing your budgets, your department, I think alone was cut 600-ish
Yeah, I think it
thousand.
was just under 700,000. I think it was about a 10 or 11% cut.
That hit hard.
It hit really hard, and anybody that saw the press conference that we did with the mayor after, like, that was raw. That was real emotion coming out of, myself, other department heads. Like, none of that was planned. It was organically just telling the public and a message to the council, really, like how we felt about that situation, like just
Yeah.
being real about it. I understand, like, and if you both are counselors in your, different municipalities, like, there are different branches of government, right, and different responsibilities for each side. But to me, the heart and soul of getting things done is the operations and the people that go out and do this work, the mass, right, the employees that go out and do this. And I'll be honest, we felt blindsided by that, because not a single counselor came to me and said, Jake, we would like you to reduce your budget. How would you do it? They didn't ask us. The night before they voted, we found out that we were being cut. And we had to come up with a game plan quickly. And that's not easy to do. And when you have a staff of nearly 100 people, they start to ask questions like, is my job at jeopardy? I saw this got cut. Does that mean, like, we're not going to be able to get this or do that? So it was a difficult situation. And I still to this day feel like it could have been handled differently. The process of it, right? Having financial challenges and having a stable budget, like, that's important. And I appreciate the council recognizing that, but the process they took made it really challenging for not only me, but it put a lot of fear in staff.
Oh, I'm sure.
And maybe they don't want to talk about it like that, but I will, because I had to face that. And then, after I kind of settle down, I've got to come up with a game plan. How am I going to move forward in this fiscal year and get the things done that I need to get done, so the city can be a great city and that we can get the
Now,
things.
how many certified code enforcement officers do you oversee?
We're up over 30 certified actual
You
code
have 30.
enforcement
Wow,
officers.
that many. 30.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot.
We have people doing commercial building permitting, so they're out in the field with contractors, making sure things are constructed to code. And we have residential inspectors doing the same thing. Think, single family kind of decks, fences, pools, retaining walls, doing that sort of work. And then we have a number of property maintenance inspectors. We have kind of two levels. One doing like large commercial buildings.
Yeah.
And then we have another set doing residential. So we have a rental registry here. If you rent a 1 or 2 family home, you have to be inspected. But also we get a lot of tenant complaints. Tenants can call and say, I'm having an issue with this. My landlord hasn't fixed it. Can you please come out and look? We get a lot of that.
I'm sure.
Every day. My heat's not working. I have a sewer backup. My water, I have a leak, all sorts of things. Property maintenance issues. We have an old housing stock here. So people are living and renting in, apartments and houses that are 100 plus years old. And if there's deferred maintenance or poor maintenance, right, workmanship is something I feel like has fallen off a little bit, compared to like my parents' generation or my grandparents. I feel like that's kind of faded a little bit, but some people live in tough conditions, and our team is here to ensure that they get safe, basic living conditions that everybody deserves, no matter what you pay in rent, no matter what side of the city you live in, that you're afforded that. So our team's out there doing that hard work daily, and it can be tough.
So what can we do? I know you guys are utilizing for permitting when you're doing the reviews for any construction for commercial. What can we do? How can we be a better partner as a building owner or a manager, architect, contractor to help you with your department to be able to oversee and to be able to handle the permit process a little bit
Yeah.
faster than what we've been
Sure.
experiencing.
I think we're kind of scratching the surface on what I envision this process being in the near future. We talked about it earlier, and you're aware that we've partnered with a number of third party plan review firms. So these are architectural firms, engineering firms, uh, folks that have the background and knowledge to do this plan review, to bolster our internal capacity. We've struggled to find commercial building plan reviewers. It's a pretty unique niche to be in.
Yeah.
And you have to have, it's serious. Like you're basically signing off on a design for people to move into this space, whether it's living in it or working in it, right? And that it functions the way it's supposed to during an emergency, really. A lot of codes are based on disaster. Like there was a fire, people got hurt or killed. Now, they make a code for something to protect from a situation, whether it's,
E360.
yeah, sprinkler protection, fire alarm protection, but also, the things people don't think about, like if there's a fire right now, how do we get out of this room that we're sitting in safely out to the public way? And that's what these code books state, how you design a building to safely do that, to keep us in a protective corridor and get us out, a means of egress to get us outside. But again, it's the things that people don't really think about when they're in a building every day. That somebody had to look at this and say, yes, this meets the intent and code compliant.
It's funny you say that, Jake, because remember 9/11. Okay. You were working for the city?
I wasn't that.
You weren't?
No, I was still I was
Still in
still.
high school.
You were still in high school.
I was working here part time, but yeah,
So
I was I believe I was a junior, 2001.
junior.
Yeah.
So in 9/11, nobody paid attention to our fire drills.
No.
Literally, Captain Irwin would go and tell somebody to go, this is my jurisdiction now, out. And so, and Captain Weber was big at that. So the big thing is once COVID hit or 9/11 happened, everybody was paranoid about coming to their work building and not knowing what would happen. And we would practice our drills because, of course, we are a relocation building here at One Lincoln Center. We don't empty the whole building out when an alarm gets activated because we'd have 800 people in the mass in Armory Square and it would be mass confusion and chaos. So we relocate, but individuals would panic after 9/11 if that alarm got activated because it was so raw still. So now speed it back 24 years later, and the alarm gets activated and people will still be on their phone, still at their computer. It's like they don't pay attention. And it's like you can't do anything about it because people migrate to whatever they migrate to. But it's just a strange thing to see and people not take so seriously, I think.
It is. And I get sometimes there are false alarms or somebody burns popcorn or whatever, but the same thing happens in smaller residential settings, believe it or not. Like people get comfortable in their own home, like, oh, I'll never have a bad fire in my own home. I'll never have to figure out how to wake up in the middle of the night and get myself and my family or my pets out of my house safely. Like they don't even have a plan at their own home. And I get it because, most people never think like this is going to happen to me. But as everybody knows, there's tragic residential fires annually, like just in this city and in the county alone where people perish, they die.
Yeah.
And I get it. Like you don't want to kind of think that, that horrible part of it, but if you don't plan for it, like it can make it challenging when there is a real emergency. So we try to push on everybody that treat everything as a real alarm. Like there's potential danger and follow your evacuation, follow your fire safety stuff. In residential house, you wouldn't believe the amount of people that take down their smoke alarms. It's
because
wild,
they go off during their cooking.
Either that or they,
The battery starts.
battery
beeping.
chirps,
The
right?
battery
It's
starts
just like,
beeping, so you just pull out the battery.
but I can't stress enough, like that will save your life. Middle of the night, something happens. You need those to go off. And you'd be shocked by the amount of fires that happen. And
Yeah.
fire department goes in. there's no working smoke detectors. You see it in the news. They report on it. You'll hear it. No, there were no working detectors in the home. And it can be a matter of, again, life and death. So yeah, it's important. And I get how people can kind of, the more distant you become from an event or a tragedy, like you start to feel a little bit more comfortable
Yeah.
again. And not that we want people to feel alarmed, right? But
No.
we do want people in the event of a serious, like real emergency, to actually act. And the only way to do that is every time something happens is just treat it like the real
Yeah.
thing. So
Yep. Practice makes perfect, right?
absolutely.
So does your team do the fire inspections as well?
We do. We work very closely with our fire prevention
Yep.
office. They're actually on the same floor as us.
Mm-hmm.
They're led by a deputy chief. His office is right down the hall from me, and our teams are, separate departments, but we're fully integrated, doing kind of the building code and the fire code side of everything, whether it's a permit, whether it's a periodic inspection for a building, making sure, egress is maintained, elevators are working, stairwells are clear, they're not blocked,
Yep.
exits are clear, because that's the stuff that we go out and find. Like,
I'm sure.
innocent maintenance guy, starts storing stuff in on a landing in a hallway that nobody ever uses.
And it's
right?
flammable, right?
That, and it's a hazard, right? It could block people, or they lock a door thinking, yeah, we never use this. But no, like, hey, like that has to stay open. If we need to empty this building out,
Yeah.
like we're gonna need that. Again, people aren't intentionally doing these things, but they're just not thinking
No.
about why is this even here? What is the intent of this stairwell being here, or this exit that nobody ever uses?
It's funny you say that. I had in Buffalo, I was managing the Federal Center in Buffalo. And one of the gentlemen from it was split U.S. attorneys, immigration on the side. Immigration, my contact, he was the fire, I don't know if he was a captain or what, but he would put a booby trap in somewhere when we'd have an actual alarm. It was a scheduled alarm, but he would have a body laying with tape and everything in the stairwell so that everybody'd start going to the stairwell, go back up, go to the next stairwell, because he was wanting people to be on their toes, to think and react and be able to get out in the event that there was a real emergency. So, but people don't. Nobody thinks like that. I think he was one of a kind.
Sure.
He was great. He used to make me laugh, but nobody thinks about the what ifs. It's too bad. So, how are you doing with the permit process now? Because I know that there has been a struggle with the budgets, and you're doing whatever it can. And I understand the growing pains are always better than cutting pains. So as a manager, I always know, and I always feel bad. Like I always worry about my people. So that cut must have been like, couldn't sleep at night. You were probably like worried about your team, because that's your peeps.
No,
That's
it
your
is.
peeps that you are with more than you are at home. So that's like your family. So I can only imagine how you had to reshuffle and repopulate how you were going to
Yeah,
thrive.
my first goal was to kind of remain calm with the situation and be transparent, right? Like people wanted to know like what was happening. And to me, like sometimes, and just not just in city government, but just more broadly anywhere, is a lot of times management isn't as transparent as I think they can be or should be in certain situations. To me, I always feel like honesty and transparency with your staff is, even if it's not
Yeah.
good news, right? They deserve to know.
Yeah.
And it's not to cause alarm or panic. It's to just give them the real situation of what we're facing. And so that's how I handled that situation, is I was very open with our team, what we were facing. But the first thing I did was reassure that no one was going to lose their job. We did have to cut some positions, but I moved things around so nobody on staff currently working was going to be impacted from these budget
Yeah.
cuts.
Very nice.
But what it did do is now it puts a little bit of strain, because now we're into that budget year, right? It's after July 1st now. Now we're operating with less money and less of what we asked for. And listen, I don't budget for things I don't need, right? Like I'm not budgeting for, lavish things that, like, we're asking for things that the city needs for services, for the things that we were just talking about. so the kind of backup plan now is, and this is something that I can ask the community of developers and property managers. Um, as much as we are third partying plan review to these firms, that that service is not free.
Mm.
And I don't have an unlimited budget to pay a third party architectural or engineering firm to do code reviews. We have some money that we're spending, but that has to carry us 12 months. And then I have to make decisions, which ones can we pay for and which ones can't we pay for. And I think that's where I think the development kind of community here can step up a little bit is we are open to doing more of that, but we can't cover the cost of that expense entirely.
Mm-hmm.
We need more developers to come to the table that are willing to take on a portion or all of that cost up front to say, hey, I want my permit, a lot quicker. I want my reviews done quicker. I'm willing to pay that cost so we can do that. That would be extremely beneficial to us. And I'm not placing all of it on them that they need to save the
Yep.
world by doing this, but it's real. Like the real situation is we have limited plan reviewers in house, and we have 100 projects at any given time that we're trying to work through. We are trying to shorten that list to keep it under 20 or 25 to do at any given time. The only way to do that is sending plans out to 5 firms that we're partnered with so that they're doing plan review at the same time as our staff is doing plan review on projects. But again, that comes at a cost. And
So on average, how many permits on average do you get a month, a week?
we issue over 4,000 permits a year.
Wow, that's a lot.
Across the board for everything. I'll give one we talked about just what we've
So,
seen.
so you're issuing 10, 15, 20 a workday then? Huh?
Yeah, easily. And more than just that, like our office issues operating licenses for businesses. We issue handicap parking.
Yep.
Like there is just constant activity out of that office.
I see it.
It is.
Yeah.
It never ends, and the people that come into that building for services, like, it's good because we're busy. I like being busy. I think busy is good. It kind of backs why we do what we do. But one real interesting thing though, we are coming up on. And under Mayor Walsh, under the 8 years almost that he's been in office, we have permitted over $1 billion of construction.
Oh, I believe it. A lot
So
of
just think about
activity,
that. Like,
a lot of activity.
as I come into the city from different things, like I think about like what wasn't here a few years ago. It's like that wasn't here. Like whether you come in from the north, the west, the east, or the south, you're driving by something or seeing something in the skyline of like that wasn't there 4 years ago. That wasn't there 2 years ago. Like,
That's impressive.
and I feel like this community has a lot of Debbie Downers. Like they're like
They are.
again, but there's a lot of really good things happening here.
Well, the interesting thing is, since your career started here, I mean, we've had a huge residential boom, apartments in the city of Syracuse. So probably you alone have approved over $1 billion worth of new apartments.
I mean, people are investing to be
And
here
that's got to
stay
take a lot of
here.
your time. I mean, because again, all these apartments you're building, 100 units, 200 units. You got to get these people out if there's a fire. So I'm sure the code review on these residential
Yeah.
projects are not easy.
I mean, one building I walk by every day is right across the street, in between One Park Place and City Hall. The old what was that 9X building?
Yeah.
That thing was full of water in the parking garage and just vacant for so many
Right,
years.
I remember it well.
Lots of animals in there.
Now it's a vibrant kind of mixed use. We've got some commercial, and a lot of brand new residential units.
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys permitted the Round Hotel? Is that all?
Yeah,
Is that about done? Have you been through it?
I haven't been through it yet, but
Is it open? Is it apartments
I
now?
believe they're close. They're very very close to starting to rent that out. But
I mean, how do you approve these round rooms? I don't get it.
yeah, they're unique, right? They're interesting, but as you go towards the windows, your kind of living space just widens, and it's like a slice of pizza, I guess.
Yeah, it's an interesting project, but there's a lot of things going over. Then, Chris Geiger, who's done a few projects in the city,
Yeah.
is trying to get a 250, 300 unit built on the corner right north of that.
Yeah, so Northside Genesee Project, or the Rosie, I believe is what they're calling
Is that
it
what they're
now.
calling it?
Yeah. You know, they hit some snags, but we got through the demolition of the houses that were there, and they're on their way. So that's exciting to see, and that those are the types of projects that we weren't seeing
Oh yeah.
10 years ago.
Yeah.
Um, and that's even with a kind of a tough financial market, right? Like, interest rates and supply chain,
Yeah.
all that. It's
Oh,
a
yeah.
it's a
The
Genesee
difficult.
Street
COVID
University.
pandemic.
What are
I
they building
mean,
on Genesee Street? The foundation's in. It's a new apartment building, but how many units is that one?
Oh,
You know?
I believe it's pushing a couple hundred. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, they've already built a couple more than 300, closer to the university. So that one coming out of the ground is, I can't even imagine the code enforcement review that you need to have that approved.
A lot of this is the vision of our comp plan and what the vision of what we want the city to be, but it's also reflective of the new zoning code we have.
hmm
So we talked about it earlier. In 2023, not only did we take over the administration of zoning, we adopted a whole new land use zoning code for the first time since the 60s. Like,
How fun is it doing a comp plan?
it's tedious work that I think not many appreciate or think about, but I'll say it this way: this country, the great cities that we have, like a lot of what we have and enjoy in this country, is from good urban city planning.
Yeah.
And for good zoning administration and
hmm
good zoning laws, rules, and permitting. So again, that's something that a lot of people don't think about when they're traveling, but people are part of creating that and designing
Yeah.
that and being very intentional on what can happen in a certain area and what can't.
Yeah. We're
Um,
doing our comp plan in Van Buren right now. And that's been since it's over 20 years that
Yeah.
we're redoing. So I totally understand where that went and how how
Right.
it's very in
You're in the
depth.
thick of it now.
Yeah. Yeah. So you've been here. You saw how it was back 20 years ago when we didn't have residential here. And most of the businesses went to the burbs. Now they're all coming back, and we have some of the vacant buildings that have residential now, which has absorbed the office market. Is it is it busier now in the permit office than ever
Yeah,
in 2025?
I would say it is. I think, especially comparing coming out of COVID, it took a little while, but we never closed down. Digitally, we actually were prepared to stay open. So we actually never stopped operations. We were issuing permits if needed during COVID. Our office actually stayed open. Some people, like I think I took 1 or 2 weeks off where I worked at home. That's it. Other
We are
than that,
essential.
I was in the office every day
Yeah, I
downtown.
believe it.
It was a ghost town. There was nobody around.
Yeah.
It was kind of spooky, but yeah, and, we're busier than ever, and again, I think it's a sign of what is happening here. It's kind of like seeing a child grow, right? Like if you're their parent, you see them every day. You're like, you don't really see the changes, but then you run into somebody who hasn't seen you in a year, and they're like, "Wow, look how big your son or daughter is," and it's like, I don't know. I see him every day. I haven't really
It's a good
noticed.
Yeah.
analogy. It's a great
Right.
analogy.
That is what is happening in our city right now. Is that's how I feel. That's what's really happening, and sometimes it takes a visitor who hasn't been here in a while, and they're like, "Wow, like there's so much going on
Yeah.
here. Like this, it's fantastic." to
Makes
see
you
all this
appreciate
growth."
all the growth that you've witnessed and watched
Yeah.
and approved.
You know, again, working for local government, like we have to be in person. I don't know how controversial the discussion is on, remote work or not, but I feel like it's better to have personal interactions in all walks of business or life. And so for me, I think there's a lot of hope that a lot of companies are going to start bringing a lot have already, but
Yeah.
I think more are going to start bringing people
Yeah.
back into the work
We're,
environment.
we're seeing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to work from home personally. That's just me. I like to get up, go into the office every day.
Absolutely. So, how is it now that you guys have relocated to your new space? Does it flow better? Does work better?
Oh my goodness, I can't talk about it enough. So, one of the key things we needed to focus on prior to the move was our our workspace and how we function. We were in a great old building, a Flatiron building at City Hall Commons, but it was a weird floor layout.
Yeah.
And we were siloed and kind of chopped up. There was no open collaborative workspace. Um, Being in One Park Place has been fantastic. We've got the whole 7th floor. We've got great conference rooms, open office concept, which took some getting used to, right? Like a lot less people got closed door offices when we moved.
Yeah. Yeah.
And some of the people that lost offices, they weren't that happy, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
It's always hard.
Yeah,
when you
people
do-
have embraced the kind of open office concept, but it's a beautiful space. Obviously, we demoed it out, built it to suite, so it's been great, and it's bolstered our kind of team, collaborative work environment, but the spirit of the work too, right? You know, the camaraderie that people have. And getting to know each other, that stuff matters in a work environment, right? Like, I don't need everybody to be best friends, but if they can get along and they want to go do stuff after work together, like, that makes a stronger work team, in my opinion. So
I've got a question for you, Jake,
Sure.
before we wrap it up here. How has the 81 project affected the permit office, code enforcement, and when that bridge finally comes down, how has it changed your life, and how is it going to change your life as we go through this?
So I live on the southern portion of the city, so I come in from the south, but I take different routes sometimes. But man, the circle up by Brighton, and even just coming 81 north, from the southern city line up to downtown, it's different every day.
Yeah.
They're making progress. 81 is making progress, right?
Oh, definitely.
They are doing really good work, and I get it's painful for some people to sit in traffic no matter what side of town you're on. But a lot of really good work happening, and a lot of indirect, like, positive results that we're seeing. Like, there will be open land that has to get developed from when this is all said and done. There's going to be room for development downtown, especially when that elevated bridge comes down. There will be area to develop there, and that's our dense MX5 downtown district, right? Like, that's going to allow all sorts of building and construction development. So while there's no direct kind of like concept or plans of what will be there,
Right.
there's interest. There's
Good.
interest of people that want to come in
Nice.
and be a part of this. So yeah, a little bit of pain, but also really good things happening. And when we're done,
I think it'll keep your office really busy, where you're going to probably have to hire a few more people to review all the plans that are coming in.
I hope so. That'll be
for the additional
problem to
land.
have.
What's the
buildings.
goal? What's the end goal for when it's supposed to be complete? Do you know?
Oh my gosh. I believe, is it 4 years?
I think they're ahead of
total?
schedule, actually.
Yeah. I don't know. There's all these different phases and different contracts, and they all have different. But I believe the elevated portion comes down, is scheduled to come down next year,
Woo.
I bet you're
which will be
probably-
amazing.
probably
Like,
end it- probably
like
about a year
imagine,
from now. Yeah.
I can't see it from here, but
Yeah.
I can see it from my office window. And to just think, like, someday, like, you won't see all these trucks
I know.
driving
Right.
on an elevated bridge. It was time. I think, no matter what side you were on, rebuild the bridge or what we're going with. I think this community needs to embrace where it's going and make it the best it is. So
Definitely.
I think it's always growing pains. Nobody is ever happy. When we put destination dispatch in this building and I did all the training, people either hated me or loved me because they don't like change. People do not like change. So, and ironically, it was the older individuals who were adaptable and were okay with the destination dispatch without having buttons in the elevator. And it was the younger ones who were more put out on it. It was total opposite because I thought it would be different. But hopefully we get through it and people just handle it with dignity and professionalism. And
Yeah, definitely.
I'm so sorry, I have to go.
I know we will wrap it up. Ready?
Let's wrap it up.
yeah.
Another successful 315 Pulse interview here with Jake Dishaw from the City of Syracuse. Jake, we're going to give you 30 seconds to wrap it up here. What do you see in the next year or two happening in Syracuse itself that is going to take us to the next level?
Well, we talked about a lot of it, but I think it's just a continuation of what we've seen. The city's going to keep growing. We're going to attract new businesses. We're going to attract new people that want to live here. Hopefully, bring back people that moved away that want to come back and be a part of this community. For me, I look back this in January to be the fourth mayor that I've worked for.
Wow.
But for me, like business.
Can we ask you who was your favorite?
Who's listening? All of them. All of them have kind of different styles, and I'm excited to be a part of whoever wins the election in November and takes office in January. Is I've got my own vision and mission and what I want to do with my department, and that'll continue. So I'm excited about that.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for coming in to talk to us
Yeah.
today. It's really interesting and great to see you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And thanks for being a great partner for all of us.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.